Forever. Dog.
Hey, this is Brett?
Yep.
Yeah, this
Brett.
is Jacob Wilson. They told you I was calling you?
Yes.
Okay, did they explain to you why I was calling you there?
I got a little information, but...
Okay, well, I don't have a lot of time. I'm actually out with my family, but I know it's been a couple months since we've talked, and I've gotten a call from, I don't know if it was the DA's office or through the judge's clerk, but apparently there's an issue where someone has either come forward saying that they were actually involved in that trespassing, or someone else is saying that that's not,
Yeah.
you weren't involved that night?
Yeah, I wasn't involved.
Okay, so that's what, well, and we've talked about this a little bit, what actually happened that night, but it's not relevant is to say that I think you're going to be...
I don't know. I guess I misspoke.
Well, either way, it's enough where the DA is saying that they're actually going to be dropping the case against you and that this was wrongfully done. It looks like you're going to be getting out, Brett. That's the point. It looks like you're going to be getting out. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Did they explain that to you?
Mm-hmm.
The prison board down there is going to get in touch with you, and they're going to be setting up your release, is what I mean to say, okay? And I guess I'm still listed as your attorney of record, even though I tried to get my name removed off of that. And you'll be getting the details, but it looks like you'll be getting out in the next week or so. I mean, it could be very fast. This could move very fast.
Yes. Oh, my God. That's great news. Thank you so much for everything you've done. And can you put your wife on the phone? I want to thank her, too.
No, I can't. She's downstairs. Not the kids either, bud. I wish you the best, Brett. And again, I just ask when you get out, just to kind of, I tell this to all my clients, you know, this is a second chance. This is a chance for you to do better and bigger things. And I want you to take care of yourself. Okay.
All right. I got to run.
Okay. All the best, Brett.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast for Laundry. No longer from prison. We're actually here at the new Fantastic Cleaners in Clinton Hill. If this is the first time you're listening to the show, welcome. This is a podcast meant to be listened to while you're doing your laundry. And it's about laundry. And I've got a very special guest. You know him from The Daily Show, the now Emmy-nominated a.k.a. Wyatt Cenac, and the new HBO series Problem Areas. Please welcome America's sweetheart, Wyatt Cenac.
Thank you. I didn't realize I was America's sweetheart, but if you're saying it, then it must be true.
Yep. I think America did the vote, and you came out on top.
Wow. Okay. Now, when you say America did the vote, I feel like I never really heard about any of this, and I'm curious to know how many people in America voted, because this just, it seems like there are a lot of other people that might have gotten America's sweetheart over me.
Well, I don't know if everyone voted. Everyone should have gotten a ballot. And the ballot didn't have everyone's name on it, but it had your name on it. And a lot of some stiff competition. And you won.
Just going off how you described that, I just have a couple questions for you.
Shoot.
This ballot, when you say it was sent to everyone, do you mean just you?
I gotta admit, I kind of lied.
Yeah.
There was no ballot, but you seem to really take the America's Sweetheart thing to heart, and I just didn't. I wanted there to be some backup to that.
Look, I just feel like don't give somebody a title if that's not really the title that they earned.
You're my sweetheart.
I don't know how I feel about that. And I feel like, again, you started out by saying I was America's sweetheart, and now I'm your sweetheart.
Yes.
One, it feels like you were trying to take cover behind America to get me to confirm that I was sweetheartable.
Okay.
Then you reveal, well, not really America. It's me. You've done this without consulting me, Wyatt. And it feels like sweetheart is a two-way street. And
No? Unrequited love. I know it well, and I've had many sweethearts where they had no idea.
Oh, so I just have the benefit of knowing it.
If it's a benefit to you, then great. Good news for me.
No, I mean just a benefit in the same way that getting a warning that you might be at risk for diabetes is a benefit.
So
I'm comparing your unrequited love to diabetes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Both are probably a little too sweet.
What's your turge? Hold for bumper. Wyatt, what's your turge?
What's my turge?
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming like my detergent?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I've never heard my turge before, but
well, you're in laundry zone now, so start thinking fast because I'm going to be throwing some lingo at you.
I'm in the spin cycle.
Not yet. That's a separate segment.
Okay. The agitator.
The agitator is a separate segment.
Oh okay. All right.
How did you come up with those immediately?
Well, I've washed clothes before.
Yeah, but when I was trying to name segments for the show, that took me about like a couple weeks. The agitator didn't come until deep into the show's run.
How much did you know about laundry before you started doing this podcast?
I knew a shit ton.
Like you've done a lot of laundry in your life?
I've done a lot of laundry. I am into it. But I mean, I guess this is why you got that Emmy nom.
What's your favorite washing machine?
My favorite washing machine is a Wascomat.
Okay.
Yeah.
I tend to go for a Maytag.
Maytag is great for the home, great for a family. Not great if you don't. Not great if you want something that's not going to conk out 6 years into owning it.
That's good to know. I've never bought a washing machine. I just know Maytag as the brand that I grew up with. And
The Maytag man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm very brand loyal in that way, I guess. I was at an early enough age, had seen Maytag, that branding, that, yeah, if I'm going in, I know that Whirlpool exists, but I'm still thinking Maytag.
Good, honestly, because Whirlpool, don't get me started. But you said you're brand loyal, so.
But none of them, you're saying Maytag, Whirlpool, neither as good as the Wasco.
The Wasco is, that's where what you'll see in a laundromat. That's what will be doing loads from sun up to sundown, sometimes all night, and still outperform your typical home washer unit.
Could you buy a Wasco, like a laundromat unit for a home?
Absolutely, yeah.
No, that's good to know if I ever buy a home.
I mean, it's a large, it's a machine, really, and it's not the largest washing machine I have used. But it's, I think for the loads for the amount of soiling I do to my clothes, and by soiling I don't mean shitting, but I just mean the general soil of my body. The Wascomat is what, yeah.
All right. You asked me what my turge was.
Yes.
Tide.
Yeah.
Sorry. Is the interview over?
No. Tide is the best brand. I just there has been a Tide related normally on this show I have been sort of off the grid for a little bit, but we would have this tradition where I would have a bottle of Tide in the center of the table. I don't have it now. But what we would do is, it was actually a really clever thing. If at any point in the conversation you wanted to change change where the conversation was going, all you need to do is spin the Tide bottle around, and you could literally turn the tide of the conversation. Unfortunately, I don't have the Tide bottle with me now. But if you want to just make the motion as if you're turning maybe a ghost bottle, and then say, I am turning the tide, that would be great, and sort of honor the tradition that we can't have tangibly.
I probably won't do that. Yeah, that I appreciate that. It seems like it would be very easy to go out and get a Tide bottle and put it in the middle of the table. I notice instead in the middle of the table you have what appear to be some empty beer cans.
Well, those are celebratory.
Okay.
Even though I'm alone, they are celebratory.
Okay.
Even though it's morning, they are celebratory.
Okay, because the way that just you talking about the Tide cans and then seeing empty beer cans as some sort of replacement for this emotional connection that you have, it felt like I walked into a man in a very depressed state doing a podcast.
No. So I guess I should explain what I am celebrating. I am a free man. I had been spending some time in Rikers Island. I was falsely accused of a crime. Luckily, a fellow comedian, Joe Rummerl, who had been the actual perpetrator of the crime, he came forward and admitted his guilt. And now I am I have my freedom now. And what was the first thing I did? Got some beers, went to the laundromat, popped a few open, threw in a load, and it's great. I feel great.
Can I ask what you were accused of?
Minor sex crimes.
Now, when you say minor sex crimes, is that sex crimes with minors?
No. I've been saying that, and I wonder if people think that's what I imply every time. No, in that the sex crimes themselves were somewhat minor, like small, barely a sex crime.
What is barely a sex crime? Because a crime's a crime. What constitutes barely a sex crime?
Barely a sex crime. A technicality. Well, let's say you get horny, right?
Who doesn't?
So let's say you just gotta scratch that itch, you know?
Like jerk off?
Mm-hmm. And let's say you're not at your home.
Now, I want to hear the rest of this story.
Okay.
But I also just have a question along the way.
Sure.
Self-control. Where does that come into play in your world?
I think given the no pun intended, but the loads that I carry, I think that my self-control is on a different. It's on a curve where I maybe to someone else have little self-control, but the amount of self-control I am operating with every day, I could be out there hurting people. I could be robbing from people, and I don't do that.
Instead, you sounds like maybe jerked off in public.
Not in public is the thing. Not in public. In someone's home.
In front of people?
Yeah.
People that knew you were doing that or that asked you to do it?
No.
So you were just...
But I didn't think they were going to see me.
Were you in the same room with those people?
They walked in on me.
They walked in on you jerking off.
How was I supposed to know?
Now, just run me through some of the steps of this, because I feel like even what you're talking about sounds disturbing, and it's my own fault. I agreed to do this podcast with little to no information, in part because
it's a podcast about laundry.
I know that, but I didn't really research who the host was. I didn't really research
No, it's fine.
that
Yeah.
he's been arrested and accused of minor sex crimes, which it sounds like a sex crime he actually committed, but another comedian eventually copped guilt to. So I don't know
I am saying what, like, I see where you lost track. Fuck. Okay. I have those urges, and yes, that thing that you just described, me masturbating, is yeah. I did that, but there were other.
You did that where?
In another comedian's house.
Okay, so you were in another comedian's house in a room.
Yes.
Which room?
Living.
You were in the living room.
Yeah.
And then you decided, because you were alone in the living room, to start masturbating.
Yes.
Where were the other people in the home?
Not home. I was waiting for them for hours, for a very long time.
So you snuck into another comedian's house.
Yes.
And you were waiting for them to show up.
And what do you do when you're bored?
Now, why did you A, sneak into their house? What were you intending to do if they didn't walk in on you masturbating?
I was intending, and the reason I snuck in is because when I have guests on the show, we sometimes record a Patreon exclusive sort of sideshow called Serial the Podcast. But this guest had angrily stormed out of our interview, and I needed to fulfill my contractual obligation and my just personal obligation to the laundry heads that listen to the podcast for laundry to deliver this show for them. And we weren't able to do that. So I took it upon myself to make it convenient for this guest. I went into their home and I waited for them.
So you were going to ambush them?
It wasn't really an ambush, because an ambush implies that I'm going to come and attack them or surprise them. I guess it was a surprise, but it was a happy surprise. Hey, more podcast.
But they had stormed out of it, so...
Yeah, it was also sort of an olive branch. Like, hey, I know we had trouble, but I'd love for you to do this other podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to say, when this is done, whether I finish the entire episode or I walk out, don't feel like you need to come to my apartment. Don't show up.
Got it. So you got like an in-house washer dryer?
I'm not going to let you know.
Well, what if the rest of the show hinged on my knowledge of that?
Are you asking for the podcast, or are you asking for what seems like
for the podcast?
Your own Well, hold on. Is it really for the podcast, or is it for your own?
Well, it's
personal weird shit. Because again, going back to the start of this episode, you said, "Oh, you're America's sweetheart," when in reality, what you wanted to say was, "I was your sweetheart." And so, again, if you're doing things in the name of the podcast, but it's actually for you to fulfill some weird shit you got going on, I want you to be clear with me and tell me up front.
I will be very clear with you. When I said you're my sweetheart, that was more of a cover. America's Sweetheart was just supposed to be this nice, like, hey, it's America's Sweetheart. And then I understand there's a weird connotation to you being my personal sweetheart. And I understand that's compounded by the fact that I have a history of going to a guest's home and a minor sex crime, technically. And
There's
then
it's a sex crime is a sex crime. I don't think.
No, well, see, now we get into this. I don't want to get into that. But then I understand that I immediately transition to, do you have a washer and dryer in your house? And that, given the previous topic, is a little, yeah, sure, red flags. But I'm not going to come into your house. Unless you want me to.
I don't want you to.
Well, you haven't heard.
I mean, I've heard the story of what seems like you came into someone else's house.
Mm-hmm.
Pun and actually.
Yeah. Well, I didn't come.
Oh. Does that on some level feel like a failure to you? Will you try to go back into their house and finish the job that you started?
I didn't think about it until just now, but given the price I had to pay, I should have been able to come.
So now you feel like it's owed to you that you be able to go into their house
Mm-hmm.
and at least finish what you've started.
There is a probationary aspect of me and my release, and I am going to respect that.
Now, again, I'm not trying to parse all the words you're saying, but there's a lot of gray area here. And so when you say there's a probationary period between you and your release...
It's funny how you say there's a lot of gray area when you also say that the sex crime thing is so black and white, but let's continue.
Look, I'm not here to litigate it. It sounds like it's already been litigated. You're a minor sex criminal, however you want to describe it. Sounds like you still maybe have to go door to door and introduce yourself.
When I move in somewhere.
Right, yeah. Yeah. But the thing that I was asking about, you said there's a probationary period with your release.
Yes.
Now, to be clear, you mean your release from prison, not some sort of masturbatory release.
Come on.
I don't know.
You know, there's no... Yeah, I mean from prison. Come on.
I really don't. I'm not sure. So either way, the fact that I'm having this conversation with you, I don't want it in any way to seem like I'm somehow aiding and abetting in you going back into these people's homes.
We're just two guys talking about laundry. I'm not going to go back into their homes because I'm respecting the law now. Whereas before, I saw it as more of a gray area. And I'm not going to break into your house and masturbate in your living room. I promise.
Well,
I promise.
Okay. How about also, you're just not going to break into my house, right?
Yeah.
I want to hear you say it.
I am not gonna break.
Why is it taking you so long?
Because I feel like this is silly. I feel like we shouldn't have to do this.
I would agree.
So
I would agree that
I'm just gonna move on to the next segment.
No, because you still haven't made any guarantee.
Well, you haven't told me if you have a washer dryer, and I think if I'm gonna make that promise, I would like to make it informed. What if there is a laundry emergency of some sort? And
that you would need to come into my apartment.
Yes.
What laundry emergency do you see that you would need to go into my apartment to solve?
You shit your pants. We're on a show together. You shit your pants. And you're like, oh no. Like, let's say you're doing a comedy special for HBO, let's say. And
right.
You want the best in the biz to open for you. Call me up. You do the first time. Goes great. There's some technical issues. I open for you again the second time, and then you're like, Brett, I got really nervous, or I had something to eat that was bad. I shit my pants. I need these pants to match the previous taping, and I can't leave because I'm running a show here. Can you take these to my house? Here are my keys. You have permission to go in.
And it also sounds like you have 1 second to go to get to my home, wash pants, and then bring them back. Because if you opened, then that means I should be on stage mere moments after you.
I say, look, I realize I'm a laundry head first and a comedian second. I will take care of this laundry issue for you. And then one of the other comedians that's there inevitably can.
How many openers do I have on a special?
You just have one, but I am giving my spot away to help you in this pickle.
Why didn't I just have perhaps multiple suits?
Because you're not insane. Who buys the same suit?
Anyone who's doing anything on television or film, you always have doubles in case you shit yourself, you spill something on yourself, you rip something. There's always doubles.
Really?
Yeah. So this laundry emergency, this that you're throwing out, I mean, there's some time issues that are problematic there, but then there's just a basic flaw in your thinking that.
Well, I mean, you gave me about 5 seconds to come up with this scenario, and I came up with that really intricate one right off the bat. I'm sure, given a lot of time, I'd be able to come up with a million similar scenarios that I'm sure you could poke holes in, but I'm just trying to be prepared for every worst case scenario, and some of those involve me going into your house and using your washer dryer.
I don't think they do.
What's your history with laundry? Let's turn back the clock.
Are we turning the tide?
No. I mean, you could, but it would be foolish because we're transitioning into a sort of an autobiographical segment that you're about to embark on.
Sure, I just meant, were we turning the tide from the previous conversation where we were, it seems like, really digging into your sort of criminal activities and criminal desires.
Yes, we are turning the tide of the conversation, but I don't want to say turn the tide because those are sort of magic words on this show that actively turn the tide, especially when we don't have the physical bottle of tides that you can spin. So you just say turn the tide, and that's sort of it's an action phrase. And,
sure.
Yeah.
All right. So would you rather we drift off to another topic?
Sure.
All right. Do you ever use Dreft?
No.
It's a detergent.
I stick with the main brands.
Okay.
I'm sure I've tried it, but it's really low on the totem pole. First memories. Here's your little kid. Mom or dad is maybe taking a load down. They're like, "Come on, it's time you see."
I mean, I grew up in a house that just had one floor, so they didn't take me down anywhere. The washing machine was right by the back door, so.
Okay, well then, come on outside.
It wasn't outside; it was just right by the back door.
Okay, come almost outside.
No, it was just, hey, there's laundry. Get it out of the dryer.
Mm-hmm. So, there wasn't any sort of safety warning, like, careful, this might be a little hot, and make sure you clean the lint trap out. And
no.
You got this show on HBO. It's called Problem Areas. Really great show. Beautiful, I'd say.
Thank you.
Not that you're beautiful. You are handsome and you dress well. But I mean the layout of the show, the set, the graphics, and the content too. It's a very, very beautiful show.
Thank you.
And I wanted to kind of borrow some of that beauty in a segment called Brett Davis's Laundry Problem Areas.
Okay. Oh, that's my theme song.
Yeah, I'm borrowing it. So in this show, we talk about the problem areas of doing your laundry. And I think you'll really get a kick out of it.
I mean, right now, I'm sure my lawyers are getting a kick out of you using this music without licensing.
Well, it's Brett Davis's Laundry Problem Areas, so I think we're free and clear.
I don't I don't think so, but
Yeah.
well, you know what? We'll let the lawyers decide.
I've had enough of lawyers lately, given the whole.
Yeah, most criminals tend to say that.
All right. So I'd say one of the big problem areas that I was really fighting for before my time at the RNDC was the Tide Pod issue,
RNDC.
the Robert and Devorn complex at Rikers.
I gotcha.
And Tide Pods. And I've kind of been, I haven't had my finger on the pulse of the issue, but you, as a non-incarcerated person, tell me, where are we at now?
With Tide Pods?
Yeah.
I think they're still here.
Good. But accessibility, my biggest fear was that, it was because I kind of started the eating the Tide Pod thing. And
why did you start that?
because it's cool.
Is it?
You know, you're not an under 20, but the under 20s.
You're not an under 20.
No, I'm not, but I influence them. I'm an influencer.
Okay.
And it became a cool trend where, you know, kids all over the world were just popping in a Tide Pod and seeing if they can take it, which you can, is the crazy thing. But then knee-jerk reaction, stores started putting them in glass cases behind the counters. You can't just run into your local bodega or your local Walmart and just pick up your Tide Pods. Now it's like when you try to pull Mein Kampf from the local library, you have to like ask the person at the front desk, and they have to like get a key and unlock it. And it's like, come on.
You just want to read what Hitler has to say.
Right?
I'm not sure. Not really sure about you, Brett Davis.
So where do you stand on this problem area?
Of Tide Pods?
Yeah.
I don't think you've really introduced a problem. You just said, Tide Pods, where are we at?
Uh-huh.
And I said, I think they're still around. And
Do you use Tide Pods?
No.
I don't think you understand the convenience thing. I no longer have my apartment, but
What happened to your apartment?
It's you know, you go to jail and you can't really pay rent, so they're gonna lock the door. Thankfully, some of my personal items were collected by my landlord, and I did find this little Tide Pod here, and I've been carrying this around me. It's sort of an emotional keepsake. Yeah.
Like some people, they carry around like stones, like quartz or things like that, that have some sort of spiritual connection that they feel. You're carrying around a Tide Pod.
I'd like to say that there is a purely emotional connection with this, and I keep it in this little sort of 90s cell phone bucket, or sort of cell phone pocket, and it just goes with me everywhere, and it's like a piece of tidy goes with me everywhere. And anyway, and we I take this everywhere, and it's just a reminder of how convenient it is, because, you know, back in olden days, people would have to walk around with a whole bottle of Tide, but now they can just pop it in. If you get a stain on your shirt, you could go to the local laundromat and just throw it in there, and you got your Tide Pod right at hand. But now the powers that be are trying to take this this newfound freedom away from people when just a few bad eggs got sick.
I think a lot of people, I think, got sick. Not
No.
a few.
I know about this story, and feel free to cover it in more depth on your show.
I probably won't.
But it's not a lot of people got sick because
How many is not a lot in your mind?
a half dozen.
That still seems like a lot.
No. Because this was a real trend going on, a real A lot of kids were doing this, and not every single one filmed it. We've got evidence of at least 100 kids that filmed it and posted videos online. But just think of the countless copycats that were out there.
Right. What you're saying is making the number larger, not smaller. You're making it seem like it is something that people really needed to be concerned about.
Well, no, because if so many people were doing it and only like 6 kids got sick,
You're sure it's 6?
I'm pretty sure it's 6.
If we were to look it up.
Well, I've been in prison without internet access, so maybe the number has risen a bit. That's why I'm asking you. You've had your finger on the pulse of this issue.
I admittedly have not had my finger on the pulse of this issue.
Okay. Maybe be more informed.
I'll see what I can do.
You knew you were coming on a laundry podcast. You could have.
I did, but I thought I was coming on really to talk a little bit about laundry and then mainly to promote my show. That was...
We just did a whole... You had nothing but complaints when I played the theme music.
That's not really promoting the show. It's not telling people they can go watch it on HBO Go anytime.
Go watch it on HBO Go.
That was such a nonplussed.
No. Let's listen to a clip of problem areas with Wyatt Cenac.
Why'd you sigh?
No, it's fine. It
was a really loud sigh.
I don't think
you leaned into the mic to sigh.
I don't think there are any clips on YouTube.
There are a lot of clips on YouTube. Well, if you're on the internet right now, why don't you look up how many kids died from Tide Pods? I don't want to look this fact up, and I don't even know if there's an online counter of this sort of thing. I think it would be whenever the issue was last covered in the in the newspapers. Yeah, if you just look it up, I'm sure it'll say the amount of people. I hear you typing, but it sounded more like clickety clack.
80 people.
80 people.
80 people got sick from eating Tide Pods.
And
so that's got to be 80 out of what? 800?
80 people is a lot. I don't care how many people you put on the other side of it. 80 is still a lot.
Okay. Whatever. Sorry, I just I saw a picture on here of an old flame.
An old flame.
Yeah, I recently lost someone.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay. It's actually this Tide Pod I carry around is sort of the last connection I have with them. I think I should maybe address the elephant in the room.
Sure, address away.
I mentioned this sort of ghost bottle of Tide.
You did.
There was a sidekick I had on this show. Her name was Tidy, and she was my bottle of Tide. And she was what I woke up in the morning thinking about, and what I went to sleep at night holding.
Was a bottle of Tide.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we sort of got separated when I had to go to prison because they weirdly won't let you bring a emotional support bottle to prison. And someone threw her out. And I was in Staten Island. My first few days of freedom, just going from dump to dump, looking for something, but I didn't find anything. And now I'm alone.
Well, sorry. Sucks for you.
It does suck.
Do you want to cry?
Yeah. No, I don't want to.
It's okay to cry.
would you mind if I don't want to take time away from you. We're definitely going to get into problem areas, talk about it.
I don't think we need to.
Get it on HBO, on demand, whatever.
Yeah, that's really enough, I think.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I wrote something to commemorate Tidy.
Okay.
And if you wouldn't mind, I'd just like to honor her.
Sure. Honor away.
So first I'll ask for a moment of silence.
Sorry.
Okay, starting now.
You just sighed again loudly. Is that part of the moment of silence?
The sigh doesn't count towards the moment of silence.
It's just that you do them so loudly.
Because I am relieving a lot of pent up. This goes out to you, Tidy.
Okay. Now moment of silence. Wait, what happened in the moment of silence?
Well, the moment of silence, I just let it pass because it seemed like we weren't.
Okay. I mean, I'm ready to do it now. If you.
Okay, a moment of silence.
And maybe hold your breath so that way you don't have another loud
Well,
sigh.
I can't hold my breath because I'm about to do something.
I mean, once the moment of silence is over, you can take a breath.
I'll hold.
Moment of silence for the Tide bottle. Bodily.
Tidy. Her name was Tidy.
Hold your breath.
For all those clothes you washed with me, for all the times I wished I was free, for all the nights you laid by my side, for all the times you turned the tide, for all the floors that you made blue, for all the love I left in you. I'll be forever thankful, baby. Tested you with all the soaps, you outperformed them all.
Did you fuck your Tide bottle?
You were much better than Gain, better than all. You were my light when things were bleak. I heard your voice though you couldn't speak. You helped with all of my laundry. You made it hard for me to pee. You're more than dirt, 'cause I believed. And you felt real though you were conceived. I'm everything I am because of Tidy. Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's...
You were me wings and made me fly. You touched my tip, it reached for the sky. Whispered to me way back in LA, make that homeless guy go away. For all the floors that you made blue, for all the love I kept in you.
Why are the floors blue?
I was your boss, but you enslaved me. Worlds of all my sleepless nights,
bosses shouldn't have slaves.
Facing my cell wall. You made me turn a laundry room into a mess hall. You were my light when things were bleak. I heard your voice though you couldn't speak. You helped with all of my laundry. You made it hard for me to pee. And you felt real though you were conceived. We're more than turds, 'cause I believe I'm everything I am because of Tidy. Oh, even when we were obscene, you always made sure I came clean. I turned the lights off and lowered myself into your Tide.
You've made King
Don't
clean
need no
dirty.
lubrication.
Oh.
You were always filled with goo.
Ugh.
I came so many times,
Yeah.
and I came blue.
That
You were my
No.
light when things were big. Sing it. You were my
That's
voice,
okay.
though you couldn't speak. Come on, Wyatt. You helped
No.
with all of my laundry. You made it hard for me to be. Come on, join along. You
That's
more
okay.
than church, 'cause I believe. And you felt real, 'cause you were conceived. I'm everything I am because of Tidy. Take it.
I'm honestly worried every time
Things
in this.
were big.
No, every time you said the word "come" or "came"
Voice so you couldn't speak.
in this episode, if it had a sexual
You felt
connotation,
real, though you were conceived.
I really feel like this whole song. I can understand why
We're
you went to
more
jail.
than touch, 'cause I believe.
I don't know who
I'm everything I am.
I don't know who the other person
because
is who
of Tidy.
copped to some crime, but it seems like you
I'm
should still be in jail.
everything I am
A minor sex criminal.
because of Tidy.
Oh, and you tried to take it to church at the end there.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Thanks for noticing.
Yeah.
You could have been a bit quieter.
Yeah.
I think I laid the I think I laid my heart out there, and you kind of stumped all over it.
I mean, I think that would be fair for anybody, given the fact that you just sang a song about how you had sex with a Tide bottle.
I think that was a given.
No, that was not a given when I came in to do this podcast, that I was going to be having an interview with a person who has sex with a Tide bottle. That's not what I thought this was. I definitely need to talk to the PR people who set this up,
Mm-hmm.
because this...
I mean, we'll get to the plugs.
No, I don't need any plugs. I am regretting the fact that, and this
Speaking
is
of
to
plugs-
this is to your
speaking of
credit.
plugs,
This is to
this
your
Tide
credit.
Pod
This is to
is,
your credit.
sort
You
of
made
our
sure
kid.
that I signed. You made sure that I signed the
Yeah.
release form before I even got to the studio.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to air this,
Yeah,
unless for some reason
this is a
you
big
choose
this is a
not
big
to.
get for us. You're a Emmy nominated comedian.
Yeah,
The Daily Show.
you've already forgotten the other credits.
I is it People of Earth, right?
Sure, yeah. But it seems like you didn't even prepare. You really just came in to this. You're just
Well,
kind
this
of
is
guessing right now. You have a computer. You could have had all this stuff up on your computer. Instead, you have lyrics to a terrible song.
It was actually a pretty good song.
I would implore the lawyers of the original maker of that song
Okay,
to
BMI, Celine Dion.
Yeah, I would.
whoever
Yeah.
you're referring to. I think they'd be touched by this.
Well, I think they'd sue you in the same way that I believe that the HBO lawyers will probably hit you pretty hard.
I don't know why you think I'm making off like a bandit. I do this because I love it. Granted, we do have a Patreon subscriber audience, which thank you so much for supporting. We've got some new content coming your way, including audio of the time when I broke into Pat Burns' house and did the thing.
Just to say what you did.
Mm-hmm.
Say what you did.
I masturbated with Tidy.
So that's what you and your Tide bottle, you were having sex with your Tide bottle while waiting for Pat to show up.
Yeah.
And then you were caught doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So the other person who copped to a crime, what did they cop to?
They copped to masturbating in Pat Burns' apartment.
So they said they were you
No.
so that you could get out of jail.
They said that they're the ones that did it.
Right.
And
So you're still admitting you did it, and there's someone who's serving time for you.
we had a prison fight.
You had a prison fight.
We had a prison fight, and I think the prison fight rules supersede the pesky laws that sometimes put innocent men in jail.
Man, I'm going to be honest with you. It sounds like there's an innocent man who's in jail, and you're a guilty man.
He's the one that threw Tidy away. Not so black and white anymore, is it?
Nope, still pretty black and white.
I'd love for you to maybe cover this story on if there's a season 2 of Problem Areas. I think this would be in that season 1 was all about policing. You can maybe tell a sort of serial-esque, not serial, the podcast as in the podcast I do about serial, but the one about crime, the true crime podcast. Maybe you could tell this story and get, every side of it, honestly. Talk to the people in Rikers who mistreated me. Talk to Pat and Joe and maybe people that sort of deal with laundry on a more social, sort of laundry activists.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. And now that I know you have a podcast that's just about cereal, I'm worried that that's also just a podcast where you talk about how you masturbate into things that you probably shouldn't
masturbate into cereal. I'm not, ugh. What the fuck, man?
Oh, sorry. I'm the monster.
Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't want to talk about masturbating this whole time. I wanted to talk about your early childhood memories. I don't even know. You say you don't have do you have a washer dryer in your home?
I'm still not going to answer that question.
Well, do you use a laundromat?
I'm not going to answer that question either. I'm going to
because that's what we'd normally talk. I'd say, hey, do you go to the laundromat? And then what do you like to do? And then do you like to read a book or maybe listen to some music? And then what are the suds in your buds? And
yeah. Well, once you...
It's time for Pop and Fizz.
Oh, all right.
Describe what you're seeing.
I'm seeing a video.
Holy shit, man.
Looks like a
What
commercial.
are you doing here?
Doing my laundry.
Yeah, but you're Rob Schneider. Hey, everybody, look. Rob Schneider's doing his laundry at the laundromat. You don't have your own washer and dryer?
Of course I do. But that's for my family stuff. This is my dog's laundry. There's dog piss and shit and vomit all over this stuff. I don't want all those germs fucking up my machines at my house. Those machines are for people. Besides, I got a kid to think about.
There was a clip from Real Rob on Netflix.
Okay.
And when you're on Netflix, check out Wyatt Cenac's Problem Areas too.
It's not on Netflix.
So what do you think about this clip?
It looked like it was a clip of him doing his laundry.
Yeah, but do you agree with the Real Rob character?
That you should only use the laundry for dog-related laundry?
Mm-hmm.
If that's the way that one person wants to use the laundromat, then...
I think it's a gross misrepresentation of the people that use laundromats. I found it classist and insulting for this movie star to say, laundromats aren't for people. Come on.
I don't know what to tell you.
Do you have a dog?
Again, this is information that I do not feel comfortable sharing with you.
Come on. I'm not going to... Why would he? I don't even care about dogs. That was our Pop and Fizz segment, so you just have nothing.
I get nothing for it.
Wyatt, thanks so much for being a guest on the show.
You're welcome.
Again, Problem Areas on HBO.
Yeah.
HBO On Demand. So you have to pay for that? Or is that just...
Yeah.
Okay. Check out AKA Wyatt Cenac. So you play a superhero. You come in and you stop laundromats from closing, I think, something like that.
No. That's not. That doesn't happen in any of the episodes.
Season 2.
Maybe. And I'm really only saying maybe just to hopefully keep you from harming me. Because
I'm not gonna kill anybody.
that's harm comes in many different forms.
I'm sorry we got off on the wrong foot. But
Do you want to apologize to the comedian who's sitting in jail right now in your place?
no, he lost a prison fight.
All right. Well, I'm not sure what that means, but
It's well, if you went to prison, you'd know.
well, I guess you said thank you, so that means I'm free to go, right?
Well, one more thing, because I've been sort of in the butt hut.
In the butt hut?
Yeah. Prison.
That's not nice thing to say.
It's a very accurate thing to say. Have you ever gotten a thumb in the bum in prison? 'Cause I have. So I should know.
I don't think that. I think that's an unfair representation.
But I haven't.
It's an unfair misrepresentation of what the prison experience is like
not
for many people.
Not
and
everybody
I think it
putting thumbs in the bum. It was one guy.
I think it
It was Carlos
mischaracterizes.
Delgado, and he's dead now.
I think it mischaracterizes what the criminal justice system in this country is and the real problems that exist within it.
I haven't had access to my iPod, and I just wanted to play a song, and maybe both of us in this laundromat could turn this mat into a disco party. And if you wouldn't mind joining me in some funky dancing.
I would mind.
Okay, well, just let the rhythm get into you.
Like the legend of the Clorox.
All right,
Our garments
Feeling
could
it?
use cleaning.
No,
come on, get up and funky dance. Come on.
no, thank you.
The need for glistening skivvies.
Stop trying to grab me.
All right, come on. Put your pelvis into it.
Move away from
Put
me.
your pelvis into it.
Move.
I'll grab your belt and I'll start moving it for you,
No.
and then you can't stop.
Stop grinding on my knee.
It's not grinding if my genitals aren't touching.
Move.
This is grinding.
Okay. Move.
Okay.
Move.
She's a
Move.
whole lot with the time.
All right, just give me one little butt smack.
No.
To your own butt.
No, I will punch you in the face. I'll punch you in the nose. Right in the nose. Both nostrils.
Thanks for being on the show.
I want you to go to that side of the room.
Okay. But don't be surprised if a lasso comes and pulls you back to where the dancing is happening. Ah! Hey, Manny, thanks so much for letting me set up in here. So what do I owe you? Okay. I've got oh wait, hold on. Unknown number. Hello? Hello? Who the fuck is this? Who is this? Fuck. Here, I gotta go.
Forever Dog.
This has been a Forever Dog production. Executive produced by Brett Boehm, Joe Cilio, and Alex Ramsey. For more original podcasts, please visit foreverdogpodcasts.com and subscribe to our shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Keep up with the latest Forever Dog news by following us on Twitter and Instagram @ForeverDogTeam.